Hi, I have a book haul to share with you today, and I hope that you enjoy some of the titles. Several of the books, as a matter of fact, all of the digital copies of the books that I'm about to describe, are downloads from NetGalley that I will be reviewing for my blog, the channel, and other social media sources. I also have other titles that I'm glad to share with you today. The first one is Watching You by Lisa Jewell. This is a psychological thriller, as are many of the titles that I have to discuss today. A brief description, and by the way, these descriptions are all going to come from the blurbs because they're new books to me, so I don't know them other than that. The instant New York Times and #1 Sunday Times bestselling author of the riveting thriller Then She Was Gone delivers another suspenseful page-turner about a shocking murder in a picturesque and well-to-do English town, perfect for fans of Gone Girl, The Girl on the Train, and The Luckiest Girl Alive. And I'll read the next paragraph just to give you a little bit more information. Melville Heights is one of the nicest neighborhoods in Bristol, England, home to doctors and lawyers, old money academics. It's not the sort of place where people are brutally murdered in their own kitchens, but it is the sort of place where everyone has a secret and everyone is watching you. So that is Watching You. It will be released December 26th. The next title that I'm glad to share with you, as I'm grabbing the cover, is The Silent Patient, and this is by Alex Michaelides. Forgive me if I do not have the pronunciation of his name correct. This book will be released in February of 2019. The description starts off by saying the rarest of beasts, the perfect thriller. This extraordinary novel set my blood fizzling. I literally could not put it down. So that's somebody's quote. A.J. Finn, #1 New York Times bestselling author of The Woman in the Window, says that promising to be the debut novel of the season, The Silent Patient is a shocking psychological thriller of a woman's act of violence against her husband and of the therapist obsessed with uncovering the motive. Alicia Berenson's life is seemingly perfect. A famous painter married to an in-demand fashion photographer, she lives in a grand house with big windows overlooking a park in one of the London's most desirable areas. One evening, her husband Gabriel returns home late from a fashion shoot, and Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks another word. Oh my gosh, that's going to be quite a read. I am definitely looking forward to that. But as I said, it doesn't come out until February, so it'll be a while before I get to it. Another book that I have, and I kind of like this one, and I'm excited to share this with you. Let me show you the cover. This is A Holiday by Gaslight by Mimi Matthews. Now, a couple of my friends are reading this book. Actually, one has already read it, and it recommended it to me. It's a brief book. It won't take me long to read. And I have to tell you what made me get the book. Just look at that dress. Yep, that's why I got it. Let me tell you just a bit about A Holiday by Gaslight. A graceful love story and an authentic presentation of the 1860s that reads with the simplicity and visual gusto of a perfect movie. Nice and simple. Something to look forward to. The next book I have is Murder in Mind by Faith Martin. Murder in Mind is the 16th book in the Hillary Green series. I have read, I believe, 4 books in this series so far, and there's one more book after this one here, and then the series will be done. These are all reprints, and basically, just give you a little bit of the synopsis. Looking for a brilliant best-selling murder mystery with a feisty female detective? 75-year-old Sylvia Perkins was found battered to death in her home in 2010. The murder weapon is suspected to be a fire poker. Her grandson Robbie inherited everything, but he can't be placed at the scene of the crime. So, a little bit about Hillary Green. She was a decorated police officer, but she left the job and now she's back solving cold cases. So it's a great series. I was really glad to be able to grab this. This came out on the 11th, and I will be doing this for a blog tour next week. The next book I have is The Night Stalker by Robert Winston. Now, this is also a part of a series. I read the previous book. There are several other titles in the series. Unfortunately, I have not had the opportunity to read them yet. This is the Detective Erica Foster series. Briefly, it says, if the Night Stalker is watching, you're already dead. In the dead of a sweltering hot summer's night, Detective Erica Foster is called to a murder scene. The victim, a doctor, is found suffocated in bed. His wrists are bound and his eyes bulging through a clear plastic bag tied tight over his head. Yeah, gruesome. I'm sorry, but it's a psychological thriller and something that I want to read because I read the previous book in the series. The last book I have for review, that is a digital copy, and I just want to pull up the cover, is Geoffrey Archer's Heads You Win. Now, I haven't read anything by Geoffrey Archer before, but I'm interested in seeing what this book is all about. This book is going to be released November 6th. A brief description, part of the description reads, Leningrad, Russia, 1968. Alexander Karpenko is no ordinary child, and from an early age, it is clear that he is destined to lead his countrymen. But when his father is assassinated by the KGB for defying the state, he and his mother will have to escape from Russia if they hope to survive. And it goes on to describe more about the book. That is a book, again, that I have for NetGalley, and I will be reading that for review. Now, I have other books. As I pass them over the screen, I didn't mean to do that. Forgive me for that. These books, either I bought them or I got them one way or another, and I'll briefly go over that. Now, this one here, And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I got this book for a simple reason. A friend of mine is reading this book this week, I believe, and I have this book on in ebook fashion, and I also read this book years and years ago. I want to read it again, like I said, because a friend of mine is reading it, but also because I did read a book earlier this year that reminded me a lot about this book, so it's been on my mind ever since I read that other novel. So that's a book that I will be reviewing for my blog. This book I got from the Book of the Month Club. It's Kate Morton's The Clockmaker's Daughter. Excuse me. This is a historical fiction set in the summer of 1862. It starts off by saying a group of young artists led by the charismatic and talented Edward Radcliffe descends upon Birchwood Manor on the banks of the Upper Thames. Their plan, to spend a secluded summer month in a haze of inspiration and creativity. But by the time their stay is over, one woman has been shot dead while another has disappeared. A priceless heirloom is missing, and Edward Radcliffe's life is in ruins. When you belong to the Book of the Month Club, you have several titles to choose from, and that one seemed to be the most appealing. Either grab this one or just skip it for this month. So I'm glad that I got it. This book here, We All Love the Beautiful Girls by Joanne Crowell, was sent to me directly by the publisher. It's unsolicited, and it was a surprise. The book has been out for a little while, and I will definitely be reviewing this for my blog. Question is, who suffers when the privileged fall? One frigid night, Mia and Michael Slade's comfortable world dissolves in an instant when they discover that their best friend has cheated them out of their life savings. At the same time, a few doors down, their teenage son passes out in the snow at a party, a mistake whose consequences will shatter not just their family, but an entire community. Well, I think I'll enjoy that one. My next 4 books that I got were library grabs that I got from a library sale. The first one is, excuse my posture, Barbara Delinsky's Before and Again. This one says, from the New York Times best-selling author of Blueprints and Sweet Salt Ale, a brand new novel about a woman in hiding finding the courage to face the world again. So Mackenzie Cooper took her eyes off the road for just a moment, but the resulting collision was enough to rob her not only of her beloved daughter, but ultimately of her marriage, family, and friends, and thanks to the nonstop media coverage, even her privacy. Now she lives as Maggie Reed with a small house with cats and a dog. And it goes on to describe a bit more about the book, and I thought when I read the blurb, I thought I might enjoy it. The last three books are all by the same author. A couple of weeks back, I grabbed two of his books from the library at the library sale, and I saw these three titles, so I thought, yeah, I'll definitely grab them. The first one by David Baldacci is The Whole Truth. This one looks really good. It says, from David Baldacci, the #1 New York Times bestselling author of Stone Cold and Simple Genius, comes his first international thriller and his most explosive novel ever. A rising threat has startled the world. Armies are preparing to fight, and as nations slip ever closer to open conflict, the struggle to reveal the truth might be the most dangerous battle of all. Definitely sounds interesting to me. The next one I got is Split Second. I love these covers, by the way. This one says, from his blockbuster debut, Absolute Power, to his most recent runaway bestseller, Last Man Standing, David Baldacci has redefined and re-energized the thriller novel. In his new work, Baldacci delivers his most relentlessly paced, high-octane ride yet. The explosive story of careers shattered, lives lost, and worlds changed forever in a single split second. I think that's enough for somebody to think whether or not they may want to check this book out. And the last book, but certainly not the least, is Simple Genius. Look at that cover. This one says, in a world of secrets, human genius is power, and sometimes it is simply deadly. A 3-hour drive from Washington, D.C., two clandestine institutions face each other across a heavily guarded river. One is the world's most unusual laboratory whose goals and funding are a mystery. The other is an elite CIA training camp shrouded in secrecy. Now a man and a woman are about to run a gauntlet between these two puzzle factories, straight into a furious struggle to exploit a potentially world-shattering discovery, and keep some other secrets under wraps forever. Simple genius. That sounds great. That was a long haul, and I do apologize, but I think I got my hands on some great books. They all are right in the category that I enjoy the most. By far, the majority of these are psychological thrillers. Yes, there's a historical fiction, and there's a mystery by Agatha Christie, but they're all books that I'm definitely looking forward to reading. Thank you for your time. I hope that at least one of these titles will interest you enough for you to take a look at it. See whether or not you want to add it to your to-be-read pile, or it's something that you want to read right away, or something that you may think about, oh, I like that author. Let me check that author out. Whatever the case, I hope that this video was helpful to you. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.